I'm coming. If you hand over to government to maintain, the budget the money and share it.
To live in that particular place that the house is. So it's supposed government will compensate them so that and pay them and relocate them to where they are going and build another house for them.
Careful engineering and management to meet human needs. Thanks for joining us on today's episode of Property Doctor. On this show, we talk about the acquisition of properties, the maintenance and the management of properties to help you stay safe, save time, save money, and to ensure we have peace of mind. My name is Fumi Amunega Ajayi, also known as your Property Doctor. You can connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and on YouTube at Property Doctor NG, and on Twitter at Property Doc NG. You can call us if you have the opportunity to do so on 0903 123 9999. You can put the international code if you are calling from maybe outside Nigeria. Some buildings collapsed during construction and others after construction. Some even collapsed long after construction, with people living inside the building when this collapse occurred. We discussed the signs that a building will give to you to know that it may collapse. You can watch our episode on signs that a building will collapse so that you can get ideas about a building collapsing. Some of the main causes for building collapse are maybe poor design, foundation failure, poor workmanship, and extraordinary loads placed on the building. When I say extraordinary load, I mean loads that the building was not designed to carry. For example, when you build a bungalow and suddenly for one reason or the other, you can decide to promote the bungalow to a story building or adding more floors to the already existing building. This can cause the collapse of a building. So any of these things I mentioned earlier, like poor workmanship, poor design, or any of these things, or any of the combination of these things can cause a building to collapse. But collapse of a building can also occur due to natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, hurricane, tremors, even fire outbreak, or external human impact or accidental vehicular impact on a building. These two can cause a building to collapse. Along the line, we discussed something like structural failure, that a building can fail when the structural elements fail. Today, we'll be talking about the structural failure of a building. And we have a structural engineer who is certified and is experienced. His name is Engineer Tella Issa. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, madam.
He is a member Nigeria Society of Engineers, and is also a registered member of the Council of the Regulation of Engineering in Nigeria. So you're going to learn a lot from him today. Now, what is structural failure of a building?
Good afternoon.
You're welcome.
Good afternoon, audience. The structural failure is the loss of structural integrity or loss of load bearing of the structure, either the structural component or the structure itself.
Okay.
Yeah.
That is it has to talk about the
it's the loss of structural integrity.
The loss of structural
integrity of the structure
of the building,
yeah.
or of the structure.
Of the building, of the building structure.
Okay, the building structure.
Yes.
Now, what can cause the loss of structural integrity of that building?
Yeah, the causes of structural integrity of a building, they are numerous. Number one, we have a dictative design. Dictative design in such a way that the structural design is made, the basic procedure is not followed, such as soil test.
Okay, we need to do soil test.
Yeah, the soil test. The the structure itself was not fully properly sizing, and maybe it can be handled by the professional outside the field.
Okay, so the first thing we need to do is to
Yes.
do a soil test.
Yes, we have to do preliminary investigation of the site, which will include the site analysis, soil test, and environmental impact
So for
assessment.
any building
Yes.
we want to construct, we
Yes.
need to do the preliminary investigation. Okay, and this includes the soil test.
Including the soil test.
Okay, why do you have to do the soil test?
The soil test is the parameter that will give you the actual bearing pressure that will stand the load of the proposed structure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, you know, the structure itself, that is the building itself,
Yes.
we say it has its own load. That is is carrying
the axial load.
There's axial load,
Axial load, yes.
there's dead load,
Yes.
there's live load,
The
there's wind load.
the
So many loads
the
on
dead
building.
load, axial load, wind load, they are the one that result into a single axial load.
Okay.
Yes.
You said the
And yes,
axial load
axial
and
load,
the dead load.
the dead load is the addition of the dead load, the wind load, and the life load. Putting them together, the addition of the three will result in the axial load. Axial load is the single load that will be acting on the soil.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So all these loads put together, they have their own impact on the soil.
On the soil.
So we need to know what the soil.
Carrying out the soil test, there is need for you to carry out the soil test because the axial load vary with the nature of the building.
Okay.
If you have a one suspended floor, the axial load will be smaller than two suspended floor. The higher you go, the higher the axial load.
Absolutely.
So by carrying out the soil test, you should be able to apply the soil bearing capacity in design of this one, which in most cases, most clients, landlord, they don't consider doing that one. Most structures are based on assumption, which it is not proper, that can contribute to building collapse or structural failure.
Structural failure.
Yes.
Okay, so having talked about all these things, the causes, that means the structural engineer is supposed to put all these things into consideration when he's designing
the structure,
the structural design, when he's doing the structural design of the building. Now, is there any safety factor that can be introduced when the structural designer, like a structural engineer, is carrying out his design on any building, just to give room? You know, sometimes some people will plan to use a building for residential. Tomorrow they will change it to school or hospital or different things, or even a hotel and things like that. Okay, maybe let me just say from residential building to a commercial building. What factor of safety has been put into any building to allow that?
So actually, it is not advisable for a building that has designed for residential building to convert into a commercial use, because in design itself, there are procedure. The factor of safety used for residential building is different from the factor of safety used for commercial and institutional building.
Okay.
So it is not advisable.
It's not advisable.
Yes.
So it's not advisable to change the use of a building. And that's why you see most of the time, you see the authorities writing revert back to use.
The code of practice has provided for each use, either for residential, commercial, or institutional.
Okay. Now, is it possible for a building that maybe you've seen that has a structural failure problem or something happening in that particular building, can it be corrected?
Yeah, when a building has collapsed, it has collapsed. We can only discuss the causes and find the remedy of subsequent one not to happen again.
Okay, no. What I'm asking about is, for instance, you notice that there is a defect on possibly one of the columns,
Yes.
or the beam, or something, maybe the slab, also the structural elements of the building. You notice maybe a crack or a deflection or something. Do you think that there can be a remedy?
Yes.
And it can be safe for people to
Yes,
stay there?
if there is earlier detection, the correction can be made.
It can be made.
Yes.
Okay. Now, how do you carry out structural integrity test on buildings?
The structural integrity test is the ability of structure consisting of many components under the load to hold together.
To hold the...
To hold together without
The structure?
breaking. Yeah.
Okay.
To hold together without breaking, including it is unwet. Or
Can it break?
including the ability, no. The structural integrity is the ability of structure.
Okay.
Yes, consisting of many components to hold together
Okay.
under a load, including it is unwet without breaking or deforming excessively.
Okay.
Yes.
Deforming excessively.
Yes, that is the
Okay.
essence of structural integrity, to ensure the structure itself is stable.
Okay.
Hmm?
You know, we have seen a lot of videos,
Yes.
and I'm going to put up some of these videos for our viewers to have an idea of what we're talking about, because sometimes people don't even know that these buildings will likely fail. But, and you have innocent workers there, but when you have a structural engineer in the site and you have the people who designed the particular building around you, they'll be able to advise you on the load that the building can carry and the type of concrete mixture that should be placed on that particular structure in case you're going to put concrete there. Now, he talked about deflection, he talked about deforming and so on. So it's important we carry out the structural integrity test. I actually saw one picture, and it's very, very, very funny. I'm going to put it up on the screen for you to see and understand the way they used to do structural integrity test in those days. But nowadays we have machines that are used to do structural integrity test. If you want to do a structural integrity test, you need to get a structural engineer to help you carry out the structural integrity test, and it's going to give you a report about the integrity of the building. There are so many buildings that we see around that needs to be tested for us to remain safe. Now, what kind of machines do you use to do your integrity test? What is your method of checking? And just give us a brief idea.
There are different, in today's technology, there are different methods of detecting the comprehensive strength of the concrete. We have a Smith hammer that have a rebound hammer to check with a correlation graph to check the integrity of the structure. It gives you it estimates the comprehensive strength of the building. We have ultrasound method.
Yeah.
Ultrasound method is still give you the same result.
Okay.
It still give you comprehensive strength of the concrete.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. There is something I observed, you know, when you work with your iron benders aside, sometimes you find out that there is no connection of the reinforcements in the site. Do you think this can cause a structural failure?
Yes, it can contribute. That is why proper supervision, monitoring, and inspection is very, very important on the site. At every stage, an engineer must ensure he satisfies everything is okay before going ahead of the work.
Okay, thank you very much for being with us today in the program, Property Doctor. Can you give our viewers one last word, something to advise them on how to stay safe and prevent structural failures in buildings?
Thank you so much Thank you for giving me this opportunity. It is very, very important, most especially with the structural failure that has been happening to country. We have had it a lot on the news, the structural failure. There's a need to review our building law to ensure that all code of practice are being put into use to avoid building collapse. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, viewers, for being with us on this episode of Property Doctor. Please kindly subscribe to our channel if you have not done so before. I'm sure you're missing out on a lot of things, but if you subscribe to this channel, you get more information, tips on how to stay safe, to save money, to save time, and to even save lives. I beg your pardon. You can click on the button below to subscribe, and also don't forget to click the like button if you enjoyed this particular episode. We hope to see you same time next week on the same dial, on the same program, Property Doctor, with another interesting topic. Until then, stay safe and remain blessed. Bye.
I'm coming. If you hand over to government to maintain, the budget the money and share it.
To live in that particular place that the house is. So it's supposed government will compensate them so that and pay them and relocate them to where they are going and build another house for them.
Careful engineering and management to meet human needs.